Chapter 1. The Great Migration. I pick up my life and take it away on a one-way ticket. Gone up north? Gone out west? Gone. Langston Hughes. Young Jacob Lawrence knew the feeling of moving. His family was part of the largest migration of black people since the days of slavery. In 1910, 9 out of 10 African Americans lived in the southern United States, where they had been slaves before the Civil War. But over the next 20 years, after slavery ended, they fled by the millions to cities in the North. Some left because they had heard that there were better jobs in the North. Others wanted to escape the beatings, even killings, that blacks still suffered at the hands of some white Southerners. They felt that in the North their families could live in safety and comfort. To those fleeing the South, the North sounded like the Promised Land in the Bible. They felt much like the slaves whom Moses led to freedom. 2 of those who made the journey north, a woman named Rose from Virginia and a man named Jacob from South Carolina, met and married in Atlantic City, New Jersey. In 1917, they had a son, Jacob Lawrence, Jr., or Jake, as most people called him. Living in the North was more difficult than the Lawrences expected. Even there, they found that many jobs were open only to white people. And the surge of African Americans migrating to northern cities meant even more competition for what work they could find. By the time Jake was 6 years old, he had lived in 3 different cities: Atlantic City and Easton and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But still, Jake's family saw that things could be worse. As they settled in Philadelphia, they met other Southern blacks even poorer than they were. A new family came up last night with absolutely nothing, Jake's mother would tell his father. Why don't you dig out a few coals from the furnace? I'll pull together some food and old clothes. Sometimes the new arrivals talked in hushed tones about witnessing a lynching, when a black person was hanged to death from a tree back home. By comparison, Philadelphia didn't seem so bad. When Jake was about 7 years old, his father drifted away. His mother was left alone to raise the family. Since Jake was the oldest, he was often expected to care for his brother and sister while his mother worked cleaning houses. While Jake wasn't fond of babysitting, he liked the city where he lived. Philadelphia was one of the biggest cities in the North, but it still had a lot of open space. Like most of his neighbors, Jake lived in a small brownstone house. An open lot nearby was his playground. When he wasn't watching his brother and sister, he liked to play by himself, climbing trees and chasing birds. Jake especially liked to catch insects. He loved the shapes of the ants, grasshoppers, and giant cicadas that scrambled across the lot. Sometimes he drew their forms on scraps of paper. A day spent exploring and drawing on his own was a real treat for Jake. And if his mother had Scrapple waiting for him on the dinner table, it was perfect. Scrapple was made from ground pork mixed with cornmeal, then sliced up and fried in a skillet. It was considered poor people's food, but it felt very rich in Jake's belly. Soon, times became harder. When Jake was about 10, his mother gave him some sad news. She couldn't get enough work in Philadelphia. She was moving to New York, which was a bigger city with more jobs. Jake and